But with that being said, it's time to talk about marriage. Marriage.
All right. Now, for those of you that don't know, my mother is a retired seamstress, and she made dresses and wedding dresses for the past, I would say, 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And some of her gowns were featured at several bigwig events at the Washington, D.C. during the Clinton administration.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows exactly what she's doing. And I talked to her about this the other day, about Dave's Bridal.
Yeah.
And she literally, I told her that. She's like, oh, they're out of business? Yes. They should have been out of business 10 years ago. Because she knew how much of a piece of shit they were.
Oh, yeah. They overcharge for everything. Yeah. And anybody who's actually, a good wedding vendor, like, you don't go to David's Bridal and expect an honest recommendation for, like, a wedding vendor.
Nope.
It's who pays them enough to get their business cards and flyers put in there.
Correct.
That's all it is.
Yeah, so you're not getting,
no,
somebody
you're
saying,
not getting honesty at all when you go to a shithole like David's Bridal.
But one third of my mother's old business when it came to the wedding industry was people getting fucked up shit from Dave's Bridal. And there's
kidding.
2 other ones that were jacked up.
Oh, that's funny.
And literally they have like 2 weeks before the wedding. It's all effed up. They show up at my mother's house at like 7 o'clock at night. And I remember I was a little kid back then. I was like 11 or 12. And I'm like, she's like, all right, go upstairs. I'm like, yeah, goddamn.
Yeah.
Go up with my bowl of, honeycomb cereal. And while these women strip down and do their, like, whatever they're doing down there.
Yeah. And isn't this like the second time David's Bridal's declared bankruptcy in the last decade?
I don't know.
Or something. It's something insane like that.
Well, I mean, if there's only 6 people out of 1,000 getting married.
Yeah, this is not going to go too well.
And I want that number to go to 0.
Well, it seems like we're well on our way. But it's not just David's Bridal feeling the pinch. Apparently, jewelry stores are also feeling it. Engagement ring sales have plummeted, and they're trying to blame the Kung flu.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, number one,
nothing to do with it.
The whole diamond industry is just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
the prices of those diamonds are jacked up artificially.
This reads like cope. Mm-hmm. So a plethora of failed romances due to the pandemic has impacted the wedding industry greatly, it says, resulting in a nosedive in the sales of engagement rings, a phenomenon dubbed the engagement gap. We're still seeing it today, says Jamie Singleton, retailer Signet Jewelers president and chief consumer officer. To get back to pre-pandemic levels, it says, engagement ring sales for Signet Jewelers, which include Zales, Jared, K Jewelers, and Diamonds Direct, would need to increase by 25% by 2026.
Let's drive those numbers.
That's not going to happen.
No.
It's going to go down.
I mean, come on. I mean, in today's day and age, getting married is the equivalent of shooting yourself in the foot before you have to run a marathon.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And let's be completely honest. The reason why marriage is going into the shitter is because modern women demand more and offer far, far less.
They offer nothing
than their predecessors.
They offer nothing. All right. By the time a woman is in her 30s, she's probably bagged at least 2 to 3 dozen cocks.
At least.
I mean, where's the value in that? I mean, I remember I did that whole video the rules of halves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens to a man when he gets divorced. You can literally watch his money and assets get cut in half every time he gets married and divorced.
Yep. And I remember the new argument now from the ladies is when you ask them what they bring to the table, they say, well, I am the table. And one of our fans in a super chat a couple weeks ago had this to say, I am the table. So you're flat, available to and used by everyone, totally replaceable, and only as valuable as what others bring to you.
Nice. Nice.
That is called a surgical dissection, and I think it's beautiful.
Mm.
This is just hysterically funny, though. And, of course, there's no talk in this at all about how men get divorce raped, about how 80% of divorces are filed by women, and if they're college educated, it's up to 90% of divorces are being filed by women.
Uh-huh.
And women will insist that they don't need a man, that they're happier than ever. Well, all evidence to the contrary. For the first time ever, as of January 2022, 53% of women born in 1991 were childless by their 30th birthday.
Ooh.
Lowest rate of childlessness at 30 was 18% for women born in 1940. 31 years old was the most common age for women born in 1975 to give birth.
Ooh.
Now, this is compared to 22 for baby boomers. So, I mean, you're talking about a huge, huge cultural shift here.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, well, we're happier. We don't need men. Well, women are more unhappy than ever, despite 40 years of feminism, claims a study that was published in 2009.
Well, and you can also look at the head meds. All right. I mean, there's been several other smaller studies that come across the same thing.
It's almost like you read my mind here. Antidepressant use among adults in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So during 2015 to 2018, 13.2% of adults aged 18 and over used antidepressant meds in the past 30 days. Use was higher amongst women than men, 17.7% compared to 8.4%.
Sounds about right.
Antidepressant use increased with age overall and in both sexes. Use was the highest among women aged 60 and over at 24.3%.
Mm-hmm. Because 40 to 80 is a long motherfucking time,
Yep.
and they're stuck in the that depression zone.
And of course, as we all know, feminism until recently was largely a middle-class white woman's game, and
Yep.
they have the highest use among women. Non-Hispanic whites, 16.6% adults, compared with non-Hispanic black, 9.8%, Hispanic, 6.5%, and Asian, 2.8%.
Now, here's another thing I read about a lot of these head meds. If you're on them for like over 2 years, your chances of coming off go to almost nothing.
Yeah. It completely alters your brain chemistry. And by the way, they sell you on the antidepressants as well. You know, you being depressed and having anxiety issues, it's not your problem. There's a chemical imbalance in your brain that we're not going to test you for before putting you on shit that actually will cause a chemical imbalance in your brain. Isn't it great how that works?
But the thing is most of the time, if you have one of these imbalances, it's because something in your life is out of balance.
Exactly. And that would explain the binge drinking. Not that we would know anything about that or anything. Binge drinking among women doubles in a decade. Researchers throw cold water on mommy drinking phenomenon as report reveals the biggest increase is among childless women in their 30s and early 40s.
Boom.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Spinster bubble is popping.
Oh, so what you're saying is that feminism has actually led women astray and turned them into miserable, head med and booze chugging miserable bitches who think they don't need a man but desperately want one with every fiber of their eggless being?
All right, now at my age, I have been dealing with women over 40 for quite some time.
Shocker.
And they won't always tell you this if you ask them straight up, but the more you're around them, women telling themselves.
Of course.
And I can't tell you how many of these women are like, it's just so hard. I have to do everything myself.
And you know what?
Fuck you.
This last article here, and I encourage everyone watching this. All these sources are available on redonkulous.com. Click on the videos tab or in the very middle of the front page underneath the life saved counter. You can watch all the content. You'll find the entry. You go right here. This is from a 2018 article written by Dennis Prager. This was basically a transcription of an interview from a woman who called into his show. Middle-aged career woman on the lies of feminism she learned too late. Listen to just the sheer defeat in every word she says. I want to get right to it. I'm 50 years old with 4 college degrees, so she did everything that feminism told her she should do.
Correct.
I was raised by a feminist mother with no father in the home.
Shocker.
My mother told me to get an education to the maximum level so you can get out in the world and make a lot of money, and that's the path I followed. I make adequate money. I don't make a ton of money, probably because you're spending most of it on student loans for 4 fucking degrees. Yeah. But I do make enough to support my own household. I want to tell women in their 20s, do not follow the path that I followed. You are leading yourself to a life of loneliness. All of your friends will be getting married and having children, and you're working to compete in the world, and what you're doing is competing with men. Men don't like competitors. Men want a partner. It took me until my late 40s to realize this. And by the time you have your own household with all your own bills, you can't get off that track because now you've got to make the money to pay your bills.
Yep.
It's hard to find a partner in your late 40s to date because you also start losing self-confidence about your looks, your body. It's not the same as it was in your 20s.
Stop right there. All right. She's saying that because she lost confidence. How about the fact that you're trying to get a valuable man with an asset that depreciates every fucking day over the age of 25?
Yeah.
So, like, quite literally, oh, I'm 49, but I'm such a catch. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't
I
listen to that
understand my
sound.
worth now.
Yeah. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, this woman actually understands. These women who think they know their worth in their early 40s with 3 bastard children and a mountain of debt. No.
I'll tell you what your worth is. It's very low, or if not negative.
7 to 10 minutes of fun with a fake name.
Oh, baby and a bale.
What does she say here? There's a little bit more here, and then we can put this article to bed. You try to do what you can to make your life fulfilling. I have cats and dogs, but it's lonely when you see your friends having children, going on vacations, planning the lives of their children, and you don't do anything at night but come home to your cats and dogs. I don't want other women to do what I've done. Gee, I wonder where she lives.
Hang on. Men do this all the time.
Yeah.
Men have been this, the isolated dude throughout all of history.
And more of us are choosing this lifestyle.
Yes.
Because modern women have become so insufferable to deal with.
Well, no, yeah, literally. The laws and the women out there, it's like you go out the front door. It's like walking through a giant minefield.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you might be okay. All it takes is one mistake, and you're fucked forever.
And men, we don't live in the same place this woman does.
No.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop!
I hate cats. I can't deal with it.
But yeah, it's hilarious. Every time it comes up that the marriage rates are going down, they always blame something that's completely out of left field. Most of the time they blame men. There's a lack of marriageable men out there. Now they're going to blame the Kung flu for people not getting engaged?
Well,
Do you have any idea how many weddings I shot just last year of people who met right before the scamdemic happened?
all right, but this is the reason they're doing this, and they're pointing to men and other things that they don't want to point the finger at themselves.
Of course not.
They don't want to have to
There's
change.
far too much money to be made.
And they don't want to give up their privilege.
As long as the state has even the smallest string in the puppeteer game of marriage, it's not worth it for most men out there.
It's not.
And that's why, like, my solution, if you're a relationship guy, you want to get married, go back to church. Seriously, you can get married in the church. They will issue you a marriage certificate. You don't have to worry about, doing the shared property, having the state as a party or shit, nothing like that. If she wants to change her name, fine. If not, what have you. And then when you terminate, if she decides that she wants to, pull the I'm not happy trick and leave, she takes what's hers, you take what's yours, and that's it.
Yeah, but they're starting to put laws in place to shut that
Well,
shit
the
down.
common law stuff. So this only works if you don't live in a common law state. Let's be
Well, yeah. And listen, I can't in good faith tell anyone to get married.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, the biggest problem right now is the state. Because it's the government that comes in and says, well, if you want to dissolve this marriage, we got to define what's good with the assets and what's for the best interests of the child, a term that has no legal definition in the 15, 16 years we've been looking for.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just saying that in today's day and age, the downsides are way too many and too harsh. And I just can't lie to the guys. I just can't recommend it.
No, I get it.
I mean, if they want to get married one time to try to have kids or something,
Only
okay,
once.
I understand that. I'm not telling you to do it.
So I'm married. I'm only doing it once.
That's right.
I'm only doing it once. If it doesn't work out for any reason whatsoever,
Done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Even if I were to get widowed tomorrow, still done. Not doing it again. Not in a million years.
I don't blame you.
Have to go back out there in this dating climate? Are you fucking nuts?
Well, you wind up getting yourself a hot pucket and some itchy scratchies.
Or waking up with boiling oil on my skin or some shit. Damn. Woo! Disgusting.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.